We are back inside City Hall talking with the four members of the State Senate's Independent Democratic Conference, Senator Jeff Klein, Senator Dianne Savino, Senator David Valesky, and Senator David Carlucci. So there's talk about this PAC. All I've seen is that it's registered. You say that you're going to be doing a fundraiser. How much money have you raised and where's it coming from?
Well, we hope to file on January 14th close to $250,000. So it's a very good start, being that we only established the PAC a couple months ago. And we're going to use it to protect the 4 IDC members, make sure we all get reelected. And I don't think there's any secret. We'd like to grow the Independent Democratic Conference. And when the election rolls around, we'll get involved in some races.
As you pointed out, the three of you, or several of you, are in seats that either were Republican or could be, or sort of marginal registration in those districts. But the Daily News has reported that there's a sort of a non-aggression pact that the Republicans impart in exchange for your...
There's no pact. As a matter of fact, the spokesperson of the Republican Party actually said that we will have races this year. You know, we're Democrats, and you know, we're always going to be Democrats. But I think until the next election, the most important thing we need to do is govern. Good politics is good government is good politics, and that's what we'll do.
Are you concerned about the Democrats running primary challenge?
Again, I think we're all strong in our districts. We all work very, very hard, and I think what we did really our constituents, I think, love. They understand that we're getting the job done. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing the people's business in Albany.
And you know, people forget in politics, challenges are an occupational hazard. You know, we're supposed to have a viable two-party system where, you know, the Republicans will run candidates against Democratic members and Democrats run candidates. So we expect that that's probably going to happen. And when you're a Democrat in a Democratic district, you're always at risk for a potential Democratic primary. And it's a business that encourages people who are ambitious. But, you know, I think on our records, we'll be able to run and make the compelling case to the voters that we should be reelected, not just for the past 2 years, but for myself, the past 8 years.
And you got to remember the climate we're in. I think the people of New York are demanding a change, and they're demanding results, and they want to see bipartisanship. And that's really what we're about. We're saying, look, we'll work with Democrats, we'll work with Republicans to get results for the people we serve. Right. I mean, juxtapose what's going on in Congress right now. They're a laughingstock, and that's where Albany was just a year and a half ago. And we're trying to move that in a new direction to show, look, we can produce results for New York. And we'll worry about the elections when they come.
And if the people that we represent in our own districts and across New York State, if they believe we're moving forward in a positive direction, I think they do, we clearly think we do, then they will reflect that at the ballot box in November.
I got a question about one vote that you took that was different from where the rest of the Democrats went, and or at least two of you, I think. The vote to strip the lieutenant governor of the power to break Senate ties. What was that about, substantively?
Well, I can tell you why I thought it made sense. There was a lot made about that. I think it's something that the courts have yet to determine what the real role of the lieutenant governor has with respect to breaking a tie on leadership. But remember, that's only about leadership. So you could elect a new majority leader of the Senate, but you can't get 32 people to then vote for legislation. So simply electing a leader doesn't get us anywhere. That's not what this should be about. And the real problem, Errol, for a lot of the people who are concerned about the action that we took last year and continue to complain about it. And this is not true of everybody in the Senate. A lot of our former colleagues are not upset. But those who continue to be upset about it are upset because they're not interested in leading. They're interested in being leader. See, and when you only care about your own job and you only care about your own ability to control the process, you're not interested in your job or his job or anybody else's in this state. That's what we rejected. And we rejected that kind of, partisan bickering. It was unnecessary.
Well, there's also an argument about consistency, though, right? I mean, when I covered your race in 2004, when you ran the first time, and you ran against Stephen Kaufman, one of the big issues in that race was he wouldn't say whether he would end up conferencing with Democrats or the Republicans. The Republicans paid for a lot of his campaign materials indirectly and so forth. And you said that you were going to come here, go to Albany, be a Democrat and conference.
Well, that's completely different. First of all, I gave up a safe seat in the Assembly to make sure a district was a Democratic seat, which I've achieved. Steve Kaufman was going to switch parties and become a Republican, completely different. What we're doing is we're remaining Democrats, but we're serving the people by getting things done in a bipartisan fashion. And I think that's the important thing. We're sent to Albany, as I said before, to get things done. And I think we really changed the dynamics of the way Albany works. We got rid of the dysfunction and showed we can function again in the state Senate.
I should mention that you all are committee chairs, and it comes with a financial stipend. And it's been described by one of your colleagues, at least, as sort of a more genteel version of what the Amigos did in sort of playing the two conferences against each other.
I think that's nonsense. I think if you look at results, the bottom line is results. When we formed this conference a year ago today, we said we're going to put policy over partisanship. We're going to look for results. We passed, the four of us, as Democratic senators in a Republican-controlled Senate, almost 70 pieces of legislation this past session, over 35 of those being signed into law by Governor Cuomo. That's progress. That's doing the work of governing, and that's what this IDC was all about.
And by the way,
continues to be
Errol, I
so.
was the deputy minority leader, so I was entitled to a very large stipend.
Right.
I gave that up.
As
to
did
just
I. I was
be-
the vice president of
to
the
just,
Senate.
To
Gave
just
that
be a
up.
committee chair.
And
so
I had-
this wasn't about the money. This
I
was
had a
about
leadership
governing.
position as well. And I think the big difference between the four Amigos and us, of the four, three of them have either been indicted, thrown out of the Senate, or are currently under indictment. There's a tremendous difference. We didn't do this because we wanted to gain anything. In fact, as we've said, we lost money on this. I was the chair of the Civil Service Committee. I'm now the chair of the Children and Families Committee. And there's nobody in the Senate who thinks that that's a step up, except for maybe perhaps myself. But it allows me to work on things that I think are really important to the people that I represent, the issues of children and families in New York.
Okay, very good. We're going to put all of this to an electoral test. It hasn't been done before. It's new. It's different. Thank you for coming on to share this with my audience, and we'll talk again real soon.
Looking
Thanks
forward
for having
to
us.
it.
Thank you.
It is time for a break. Straight ahead, we'll ask the head of a health clinic in the Bronx why her organization is having teenagers participate in public service announcements about safe sex. Some are calling those ads a little too racy. Our sound off segment, straight ahead. Stay with us.